Hello there everyone. This is a fan with too much time, appearing here before we get started in order to make clear a few things about what you are about to hear. This is an original story by me where you, the audience, get to help shape and create the narrative. And not just that, but the whole world as well. Stay tuned at the end of the story to see an example of the kind of comment you should leave in the comments section if you want to see your ideas be implemented into the tale I'm going to tell. Become part of the choir of creation, or take part in the machinations of the Black Choir. What kind of world or story will you help me make, I wonder? Well, let's find out, shall we? The creator carefully judged the nature of the page. Would it have dimension? Would it twist, take an odd shape? In the end, the creator chose a simple page with a top and a bottom, a before and an after. Perhaps even a margin he might use to cheat and write something within and yet outside of the story he was planning to tell. Then, with that all decided, the creator turned the page, and a new world followed after. But this world was empty, yet to be chosen for a path, for the moment all remaining locked, a still time and place where all things were yet to be, and were already past. How could it be otherwise, when there was nothing to differentiate one moment from the next or the one before? The great hand began, as all worlds must, with light. The great, obscure wholeness upon the page became divided into distinct two-ness, light and dark. The first division, swiftly followed by the second distinction of all distinctions, the difference between voidness and thingness. And yet, barely a god's heartbeat after the moment when light and dark inked the great page, and less than a moment before thingness and voidness were depicted within the early tale which was now being woven, the third great division occurred. The distinction between heat and cold, that which burns, and that which freezes. And so it followed, one after the other, the natural companions of light and dark pulling each other into the tale. Other creators may have painted with different inks, but for the creator who turned this page, it could only ever be such. Movement and stillness, softness and hardness, bigness and smallness. And so they came. A coat of the barest story written so densely across the entire page that the creator was free to write over them with a different color. And none would know that already a million stories and interactions of the unthinking laws had already been told. But, with all of these things now clearly defined, the creator turned to the tending of a greater narrative, and created the next great division, cutting it into the page with his implement. That which lives, and that which does not. He followed it with the grace born of eternal creation, cutting the next division into the story and creating the next great definer. That which lives forever, and that which lives for a time. It was as he cut this new law into being that his creation began to draw the earnest attention of the spirits around him. They descended down upon his creation, seeing already the great aftermaths of those early choices. Seeing life dawning, spring forth, creating and destroying across the breadth of the vast page. At first, they merely observed, but soon several among the greater spirits approached the creator. The first to step forward was also the most brazen, taking behind her the hand of another. She was a great queen of the spirits, taken deeply into her aspects. She was tall but lithe, and always dancing even when standing still. Her skin was radiance itself, shining to rival light, and her eyes were pits of passion, reaching both the heights of love and hatred, creation and destruction in a single embodiment. A gorgeous being, one which demanded the attention of the creator.
"I am the Great Spirit,"
said she.
"You have made a story upon this page that pleases me, and I would grow closer to it. I would take into this story myself and embody within it my essence, so I may grow brighter."
The creator's hand was still, and so he nodded his head and bid her step forward. The creator showed her the great breadth of words already written and explained.
This page is written into threads. Threads that become threads, claiming dominions of division from which come the definition that you seek. Choose a thread to embody, and I will pour you along it and down it, like a thin spirit soaking a rope of threads.
With those words, she came closer, but barely looked before making her choice.
"I shall embody the thread of light. Light, which will become half of all things that are and are not. This is my choice,"
she declared. The creator dimmed her passion, however, and denied her, saying,
Light I cannot give you. Light, darkness, thingness, and nothingness. These are threads I keep for myself. Be not offended, for I offer to you instead the thread of heat, of stars, of fire, and of love and hatred.
The Great Spirit considered the offer, but knowing she could impose nothing greater, she took it. With his blessings, she descended into the page to embody fire and its children and sires as the spirit of heat. Behind her, hidden by her radiance but revealed in her absence, was another great spirit, a spirit of subtlety and of sight. Great Creator, I am the Great Spirit, this new one proclaimed. And I would also ask to be embodied within this story. But for myself, I would take not a thread at the root of things as they are, but a thread at the end of things as they stand. Give to me the true eye of the living, and allow me to live through them. Make of me the immortal within the mortal, and bestow me the title of soul. The depth of the proclamation was deeply shocking, and around the great page, many spirits recoiled, and many leaned in. For things had become truly interesting.
Mortal life is sordid, composed of tangles within the threads. Their stakes are ever the highest, yet their rewards the least. They are art of tragedy as much as beauty, and each is destined with death. They are rude things, for they cannot reach above themselves and remain mortals at all.
Explained the Creator. That is a more common story, Great Weaver. But it is not the only way the story can be told. Through me, and thus through you, an avenue for something far more novel exists. Hope to the hopeless. A sliver through the scheme by which unreality might be seen. Bestow me the title of soul, and see that I am not destroyed, but ascended by it. Let my brothers and sisters play their games around me, I shall be the vital witness. I kneel in pledge. Bestow this upon me, and see the story that is woven in my thread, begged the Great Spirit. The Creator took time to consider, and ultimately nodded.
I will give to you many secret things, so that you might persevere in spite of all that is written against you. When you seek for me and do truly need me, I will clad you and create for you a way. Enter now this page and be known as soul of my creation.
The Creator said, bestowing the power, title, and burden upon the Great Spirit, before it too descended within. And they were not the last.
Come forth, Great Spirit of enduring wisdom, of high passion, of great boredom, and eternal thirst.
Called the Creator, and in response, the corresponding spirit did appear.
You will go into this page and embody within yourself the essence of those things that live but do not die. You will watch over the soul and guard it from the predation of the less benevolent influences which shall beset them.
The Creator ordered.
Great Creator, I will do as you bid, but you should know that I am not benevolent.
Warned the Great Spirit.
And neither are you malevolent. Were you either, your duty would disrupt the intention of the soul. Enter now, and divide yourself according to your whim, and I will reward you for the care you take.
Was the answer given to the Great Spirit, who descended down into the page. At this turn, many more came forward, taking for themselves dominions both high and low, as accepted by the will of the Creator. Finally, last of all came a great prince of the spirits. He bowed deeply before the Creator and splayed out his raiments, which changed the nature of the air itself.
I am the Great Spirit Prince, and I have come to ask no charity from you, Creator. Instead, I offer a game. If I win this game, you will allow me to embody light. However, if I lose, I shall turn the next page for you and take the role of soul the next time it is desired.
Said the umbral spirit from his low perch. The idea of a game did intrigue the Creator, who bid the prince go on.
The game shall be the fate of the current soul. If it emerges stronger, then I lose. If it emerges weaker, then I win. But this is not a gamble, but a game. We shall both stand here, from outside the page, and through only distant dictation, alter the stories as we can. One move matching the other, like taking turns moving pieces across a board.
Said the prince.
And what shall our pieces be?
The Creator asked.
We shall each claim a thread, an element, and the other shall claim the opposite. 2 threads for each of us, 4 threads between us. We shall pull and tug on these threads from here, only ever pulling as hard as the other. This will be our game.
Finished the bowing spirit. The Creator smiled upon this being and nodded, accepting the terms it proposed.
Very well. Then we shall play. Choose your dominion, then. I offer the first choice of thread to you.
Said the Creator. The prince rose and did not need time to ponder his choice.
I choose darkness.
Said the prince.
Then I shall be light.
Answered the Creator.
Now it is your turn, Creator. Choose a thread for yourself, and I shall take its counterpart.
the prince challenged. The creator nodded, but did not choose any of the threads that yet existed. Instead, he lowered his hand and wrote into the page a new division, a new set of threads. The eyes of the prince grew wide as he tried to follow the resulting tangles created by this new, fundamental division. It took him no time at all to realize that these threads were the most complex of all.
What are these?
Asked the prince. The creator smiled.
This is the new separation, the division between good and evil. I choose good,
said the creator.
Then I shall be evil,
said the prince. The creator nodded in acceptance.
Then you shall be bearer of your own title for this game, as I have given the other spirits within the story. Your title shall be Adversary. Now, let us...
The creator began to say, but was cut off by the cry of many spirits around them.
What of us?
They cried.
We wish to play as well. We are not powerful enough to embody directly the very threads of your story.
But we desire to aid either of you in your games. What role shall there be for us?
Asked the many spirits who contorted as a whirlwind around the two players.
Calm your voices and sit beside us. Those who sit beside me shall be the choir of creation and shall aid me in finding the answers I seek. Those who sit beside the adversary will be the black choir, and your voices will be heard only by the adversary and aid only him. Shall this abide?
The creator proposed, and the choir abided, and the adversary abided. And so, the game between them began. Time is a meaningless illusion to those outside the story. It can be rewound and forwarded, altered and violated at the will of the eye of the observer, and at times, even the hand of the creator. As such, there would be many contests across this vast scape, upon the many worlds which could hold the blessing of mortal life and soul. This would be the first contest, even as other contests occurred simultaneously across the meaningless breadth of time and space. Here, from the perspective of the creator and the adversary, it would begin. The creator named this world Origin, in recognition of its status as the site of their first contest, using the language which mortals could attempt to imitate but never speak. This world spun, light and dark, sharing the sky in intervals. The ground was barren yet fertile, waiting for creation to take root. With a wave of his hand, the creator invited it forth, filling the world with a lush variety of life, bidding the spirits embodying those things forward, and the spirits acquiescing to the will of the creator. Many wild beasts now roamed, and even primitive, natural things, bearing within them the spark of mind. But the creator had decided it would not do to allow the adversary to run rampant across natural creation. No. Here he would create his chosen people, the souls he would most guard and shepherd, the ones who would ultimately wage the war against evil. He would begin with 3 races. He licked the tip of his scribing tool and lowered it, but did not write.
Choir of creation, come forward. Sing to me your musings of these 3 first races. Those 3 of you who sing the loudest I shall reign as the first king or queen of the people. You may not be mighty enough to embody entire threads of the world, but you are great enough to survive within the single body of a souled being. Sing and be heard as I create.
Said the creator, preparing his hand. The Prince of Darkness watched with natural, baleful anticipation as the creator prepared their first board, filling it with life. The prince was not composed of the same powers as the creator, and he could not merely write into existence that which was not already present. But he had great pull over the threads of darkness, evil, and all that encompassed, and these powers were not inconsiderable.
Black Choir, step forth.
Summoned the adversary.
Hear me and understand our mission. We wish to ultimately weaken the soul, so that by the end of creation, it is lesser for the story that has been told and not greater. Agony, excess of loss, despair, suffering, despondence. Rage in extremity, hatred at the self, or at all around the self. These are the things that destroy soul. Greed, possessiveness, ambition above all, the desire for revenge, the need to spread agony, the pursuit of pleasure at the expense of others. These are the sires of the things we wish to bring about.
Said the great dark prince to the gathering of his dark spirits.
The Creator seeks to make 3 chosen races to save the fate of soul. So I say to you, great host of the adversary, we shall make 6.
He proclaimed, sweeping his hands out across the world.
Go forth, my dark army. Stalk in amongst the land when night takes the surface and the sun looks away. Take 6 creatures from the face of the earth and bring them before me. Choose proper examples to become the seeds of our creation. The most foul, the most fetid, and self-destructive examples of their races. Bring before me these 6 beasts to remake. Those of you who do well, I shall take and place into the bodies of the firsts, to become kings and queens, progenitors and rulers of the dark people. Go now and choose well. These shall be the soldiers in our first war.
Alright fans, I hope you enjoyed what you heard and are eager to hear more. If you want to know how to contribute to the story as a member of the Choir of Creation, or the Black Choir, just follow the comment template as displayed on the screen here. Try to be short and sweet, keeping the vital details of what you really want to include while leaving enough room for me and others to work around as the story progresses. I will take a look at what is written and take something from the opinions that have the highest votes. So remember, after you write what you think should happen or go on in the story, don't forget to scroll through the comments to upvote other ideas that you think should be put in. After you finish upvoting yourself, of course. I will normally end these stories with something open-ended, which will enable you to add or dictate something within the story. But you can also make unrelated suggestions as well. They are far less likely to be implemented, but if it proves popular enough and I like it as well, then the unsolicited suggestions will be taken. But do not neglect to address the prompts as well. They will often be relied upon to progress a story, and it would be a sad state to be in if everyone responded, but no one actually answered the challenge or question. Now, a few quick ground rules. Entries that are silly will not be outright rejected, but if they are too silly, made of memes, or extremely offensive or off topic, then I will ignore them, regardless of how many likes or comments it has. Don't waste your reply, color in between the lines. Okay, with that said, go ahead, have fun, do your duty in the war to come. And as you do, remember, I'll see you next time.